Oh, Civivi. This knife company has got me on the radar for good knives. They've been really doing it for me. I haven't gotten a Civivi that I haven't been disappointed in. So let's get into it, everybody. Let's talk blades because that's what we're into. Today, I have for you guys the Civivi Stylum. Now, this particular knife isn't my usual MO. You guys know this. I am not a huge fan of smaller knives, but if they work, I mean, that's kind of what the hype is now, isn't it? Smaller knives. No one carries 4-inch blades except for me and maybe a few other handful of people. But that's if, the length bothers you. This, my friends, I actually like this one. This is nice. It's kind of reminiscent to the older knives that I have and that I started collecting before I started, carrying the bigger knives. So here it is, the Stylum. I have this urge to call it the Stylium. That's a Stylum. Dark green micarta handle and gray liner. The steel is a little bit weird for me. The 10CR15 MOV steel, I am not too familiar with that steel. We'll go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go ahead and unopen the box over here and we can check it out. So it comes in this nice Civivi zip pouch. And when you open this pouch, you get your standard Civivi stuff. You get your stickers. You got the knife. You got the company logo. You got your reading material, so your instructions manual on, care and maintenance and all that. Oh, look at that. You get your packet of tactical silica you can fling into the face of your enemies. Please don't actually do that, though. And then, of course, it comes with your microfiber cloth with Civivi on there, which is really nice. Very useful stuff. And the case is actually pretty nice. It's nice and fluffy in there, so it keeps your knife nice and nice. I don't know how many times I gotta say nice, but there's that. And here's the knife itself. So it comes in a bag with the combo of WE knife and Civivi. I'm sure that both the same company. They make good stuff. We all know that. Go ahead and get the trash out of the way, why don't I? And here's the knife. Now, why did I choose dark green micarta? Well, I can tell you right now, I love micarta. I don't like the lighter colored micartas. I really don't. I would much rather go for anything darker, So I went ahead and chose this. It's actually nice, and for the size, it has a little bit of weight to it. Like, if I'm sitting here kind of, doing this, it's got some weight to it. I really like it. I like the blade design. Now, I'm not too familiar with Ferrum Forge, but I can already tell you right now, just judging off of this knife, I'm a huge fan now, because they have really good stuff. I can feel it. This doesn't exactly look like a Civivi to me, but at the same time, it does. What do I mean by that? Because this isn't exactly... It doesn't look too Civivi-ish. It looks more like a different company, so that's where Ferrum Forge kind of comes into play. It is a flipper design. You can't see the flipper because this jimped top end right here is the flipper design. So it has more of like a... what is that? That lighter kind of thing, So... Now, I know that's a little bit weak, but let me try it again. I can't really do it. Hold on, let me try it this way. I'm trying to keep it in frame for you guys. There we go, boom. It's a little bit tight because this knife is still new, but it's actually really nice. Really nice. It's got a double detent, and what that is basically it works like a slip joint, just a little bit more modern. So it has a ball detent in there, and it's got two little spots where it closes and keeps it closed, and then it keeps it open at the same time. Well, all in, same construction. So when you pop it open, it stays open. Obviously, it's not falling shut unless you obviously push it, and then it goes off of detent until it is closed, and then it stays closed until you flip it back open. So really nice stuff. I'm not a huge fan of front flippers, but aesthetically it looks very, very nice. Basically, you're not having any ugly thumb studs or, back flippers sticking out of the spine, or, you don't have anything like that. It's just the simple design as is. Now here's the thing, I wouldn't go smacking on the back of this, obviously, because there's nothing else keeping this open other than that small detent. So with that being said, it's very much like a slip joint. It's just, you're not going to have any stability with this. Now obviously this is not a knife that I would use for self-defense unless it's the only thing I'm carrying, and I'm not saying that no one would ever, or no one should ever. I'm just saying that it wasn't intended for that. It's more of a tool knife, and I can tell by its design. It's very short, comes in at a very, like a 3-inch blade. We'll get into the specs here in a minute. But the blade has a really interesting kind of, even though it's small, it's got a really nice tip. So you hold it like this, and you can even choke up, which is why there's a part right here at the base where it's unsharpened. So you can actually choke up a little bit. And you got jimping just on the side right here on the top, but not too much to where it would go all the way forward. But it just seems more natural this way. So it's actually pretty nice. Deep carry pocket clip, although it's only fit for one side, so for you lefties, I'm really sorry it's not going to work out for you. But even though that this is with the detent that it has, you can still confidently put it in your left pocket and still be able to use it. Although, you know, the blade's not going to come open or anything unless you actually open it using the front flipper action. To mine is just a little bit on the, still a little stiff, and trying to keep it, I'm always trying to put my thumb in the way of thinking that I'm gonna, you know, unlock it using, you know, the liner lock. There is no liner lock. This is the lock, so it's really nice. Obviously, you know, nothing else is keeping it. It's just keeping it open, closed. So I actually like it. It's really nice. I think this would be good coupled with a self-defense knife. I never carry, if I ever carry a small knife, I never carry it by itself. I always carry a knife just a little bit bigger, just in case I feel like I need a bigger blade. So if I ever carry a knife that is shorter than 3.5 inches, I go ahead and I carry another knife that's around about 3.5 or 4 inches, just in case I feel like I need it. Or for self-defense, if you guys haven't picked that up yet. But of course, this is a decent knife either way. Of course, on the bottom, you got that, you can barely see it, 10CR15 MOV, so you got it printed right here. Right there, you can see that their shield, Fair and Forged Designs, or Design, I think it says. And then, yeah, so it's, you know, very little text, which is nice. You got that stonewash finish on the blade, so that's great. So, you know, it's designed to be a using knife. You use this knife, it's not meant to stay pretty. This is a user knife. And that's actually really, that's pretty cool. So your hand oils and everything, when you're touching this thing, it's going to start to, you know, wear in really nicely with the color. It's going to make it your own, basically. The pocket clip, I haven't really put it in my pocket, but it carries damn near so deep you can't even see the knife at all. You just see just clip. So that's really cool. Small, discreet, it's great. Now this runs on ball bearings for the pivot, which is why it's so dang smooth. And I'm still trying to get used to opening it up. You know, I'm not a huge fan of front flippers, but this one kind of got me going because I don't have too many slip joints in my collection. I got maybe just 2 or 3 of them, and they're all old, very old, so I think it'd be good just to have a more updated version, and this is it. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the specs now. I think it's been long enough, and I've jibber-jabbered along to get you guys going. I'm going to see how much this thing weighs. So yeah, it's coming in at a whopping 2.39 ounces, just under 3 ounces. I'm sorry, this thing is super dusty. Oh man, I need to clean this stuff. And it's a, you know, it's a pretty decent, I should say it's more than a decent weight. Sorry, I'm trying to find my tape measure. There we go. So with it being closed, I need to move this out of the way. So with it being closed, you're looking at a very small, almost 4 inches, but 3 7/8 in your pocket. Of course, with it open, You're looking at 3 inches exactly, but with a cutting edge of 2 and a little bit more than 2.5 inches, so just cutting edge alone, so 2 5/8, maybe 2 3/4 at most, but you still got that forward choil. So, you still got, it's a small amount of blade, but this would be good just for tool usage around, cutting open boxes and packages and stuff, and not ruining your more expensive collecting knives, that's for sure. This is a great, a good EDC for those who don't want to carry a big knife, who want to keep it a little bit more simple and minimalist. This would be great for that kind of person, in my personal humble opinion. Now we'll go ahead and get into the width of things so you guys know how wide it is in the pocket. It doesn't leave a huge footprint, I can tell you that much. So it comes in at 11.1 this way, and it comes in at a 16.7 that way, and a 2.7 on the blade. Now let's do a size comparison to whatever the hell I'm carrying in my pocket right now, and I'm going to bust it out. It is the Best Tech Fin. I like this knife. So this one is obviously bigger. So I'm going to put this down here, and I'm going to put this right next to it so you guys have a good idea of how big this thing is. So this is 3 inches. This one's going to be obviously 3.5. So that's, smaller knife, bigger knife. Slender, wider. It just depends on what you're looking for. It depends on what you want to use it for, and ultimately it really depends on whether or not you want a knife that you can, just have a simple use knife. I wouldn't really hard use this knife because it has no other locking mechanism on there because it operates like a slip joint. So that's just my, my little assessment. If I'm going to use this on anything, it'd be opening up packages and mail, cutting some zip ties, anything small. I probably wouldn't really be prying with this knife, although if I didn't care about it, I kind of would, but there's no real lock on this thing, so I still wouldn't pry with my knives, but I'm just saying for those of you who enjoy prying with your knives, I guess you can do that. It makes me cringe every single time I consider it, but if this is a hard-use knife, which is, what a lot of people would want to use this for, coming in at $60 on Blade HQ, it's not a knife that's going to break the bank, especially if you want something with decent grip. This is not a bad choice. For somebody who just wants a simple knife that isn't too flashy, that isn't too big, and isn't too murdery, scary, this is a great option. Fantastic option. And if something were to ever happen to this knife, you could just buy another one, because at $60, that's pretty damn good. It doesn't break the bank at all, and it's a very, very good quality. It feels great. It doesn't feel like your normal slip joints with the small, plastic handles or... I'm not saying that I hate Victronox or anything. I love Victronox. I love my Swiss Army knives. But this being just the blade, a simple knife that's under... there are certain places that don't allow locking knives or knives at a certain length. They have to be under 3.5 or under 3 inches, or just about 3 inches with no locking. So there are certain places where laws you have to abide by. This would be perfect for that as well. Especially if you're traveling and you're going to a place where they're very strict on knife laws, this is something to consider. That's just for, future reference if you're trying to consider something a little bit more legal, especially in the area that you're going to or coming from. This is a decent knife. And coming from a good good factory, yeah, a good company. I actually there's probably no Civivi that I've ever came across that I've actually did not like. I like damn near all my Civivis. They're really good. Wii knives, yeah. there's I have 1 or 2 Wii knives. They're good. They're from the same place, and I haven't seen one that I just didn't appeal to me. So this is a good one. This is one that I'd take great consideration towards if you're looking for something within all the elements that I've just listed. It's very simple, nothing too complicated, and it's just a good knife. Now, I wouldn't do too much pressing on the spine because obviously you'll disengage that ball detent, the only thing that's keeping this open. But if you're cutting something and you're pressing down, you have nothing to worry about. Obviously, the knife isn't going to go anywhere. But if you're hoping that nothing will cause this thing to disengage the lock, I would be very mindful about that. But it's a pretty decent detent. It's not too strong to where I can't disengage the blade. Disengage the lock, excuse me. Or engage the blade. But firing the knife open, it just takes a little bit of getting used to, because certain people don't like this way of opening. You got to sit there and do this. Or some people don't like this way of opening, when you got to open it in a funky fashion with your thumb. And see, I didn't even open it all the way when I did that. But you can get used to it after a while. This is just a knife that you can just throw in your pocket with your car keys and your spare change, and it'll work. It's protected in the back, at least about halfway. I don't know what that backspacer is made out of. Now that I look at it, it might be micarta, but I doubt it. It's more, to me, it looks like G10, if that matters to you at all. Or it could just be plastic for all I know. But I kind of want to see what this thing slices. How about that? Let me get some paper real quick. There's just a sliver of paper right here. I got more, but I'm trying to make sure that I use all of my paper properly. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm not used to smaller handles, so... This thing is pretty sharp. I'm not really trying, I'm just... This is actually pretty damn sharp. Because of my paper being so small. But it cuts. It's got a really good edge on there. And I don't think I've ever really gotten a really dull Civivi. So it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. So if any of this stuff appeals to you, and, you know, $60 isn't asking a whole lot, you still get a whole bunch of great stuff. You get this knife case. You get some stickers. If you're a sticker guy, you slap it on whatever. You slap your stickers on, excuse me. And you got your damn microfiber cloth, which is always great to have. They're great. You just put them around wherever you use your knives, and it's a good thing to just wipe down your knife every now and again. It's an easy find. You know, this stuff is really, really helpful and useful. At least the case and the microfiber cloth, I'd say. But at $60, you get a whole lot for $60. You really do. Deep carry knife. I'm not too familiar with the steel, but I heard it's pretty decent for everyday use. You get a knife that looks small, but feels like it has a little bit of weight to it, and it kind of does for its size. And it's just a decent all-around use knife without having to beat on any of your good, you know, collector pretty ones. You don't want to bust out the good china, right? So anyways, that's just how I think about that. But if you really want to grab one, there's a whole plethora of flavors that you can choose from. And by what I mean by that is more than just the one that I have in front of me. There's I think like a lighter brown, some other color. I can't remember. There's 2 or 3 other colors that you can pick from the micarta, at least micarta lineup anyways. So if you like Ferrum Forge and you like Civivi, this is the knife for you. If you don't mind the size, you know, or the price anyways for being a $60 knife, it's just like a brand new PS4 game. It's not that much. It's pretty decent. I'd keep consideration of this, especially when you know you can't really carry around a knife any bigger than a certain size, especially when it goes about 3.5 to 4 inches. This is a decent thing to look forward to. It really feels good in the hand. It's a very neutral handle. I really enjoy it. Go ahead and give it a look-see. That's if you're a knife guy like me. Anyways, everybody, go ahead and slash that like button, stab that subscribe, slice that bell icon so you guys are notified whenever I post new stuff. And in these craziest of times, everybody, please be kind, be safe, carry responsibly, and I'll see you all awesome people in the next video.